All right, everybody, welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. And yes, you probably saw the title of my video. Is he gone yet? Yeah, that's right. I said it. Is Manny Diaz gone yet? I am officially on Manny watch. I don't care anymore. I don't claim to have the inside knowledge that some of my YouTube colleagues have. Some of them are better connected than I am, but I hear things. I talk to people. And what's up, Les, Randy? I've heard all ends of the spectrum. I've heard they're sticking with Manny no matter what till the end of the season. And I've heard literally the complete opposite of that as well, and everything in between. So I feel like it could be any day now. There was some Twitter hate going towards some of the insiders. And look, I just want to say, if we lose to North Carolina, which is very likely, that's not going to matter because I think he's gone for sure at that point. But we'll see. We'll see what I think. It's one of those things where the truth will come out eventually. But, until then, there's a bye week. And, Javier, what's going on? Right on time. Yes, sir. All is well. Hope all is well with you. All the degenerates joining in. So, yeah. Feel free. Use that comment section. What do you think? What do you guys think is going on behind the scenes? I did hear about the player fight today a little bit. I don't know. I like I like hearing that there's a little bit of chippiness in the practice field, because you hear about that at NFL practices all the time. There's always fights breaking out. Some of the greatest teams of all time, there's fights breaking out. What's good? Did we at least win the fight this week? Daddy ball. Yep. If you know, you know. Let's see. Yes, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Les says, bet the house on Manny losing against NC. Yeah, I'm at the point where I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if we beat North Carolina. Because Matt Brown has, he owns Manny Diaz, owns him. And he's probably going to show that again, in a week and a half. I hope not. There's part of me that's, obviously, I'm still going to watch the game, root on our team, and I hope we pull off the upset. I don't see any conceivable way it happens the way we've been playing lately. And hopefully, and you know what? If we do go down against UNC, hopefully that's the final nail in the coffin. I'm hearing Zoe news coming out. On Monday. I heard that there was supposed to be news coming out this past Monday, and that didn't necessarily happen. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but we'll see. I'm not sure. I hope so. Les. We go 0-3 against UNC, NC State, and Pitt. I think we win 1 of 3. I see us finishing like 6-6, anywhere between 7-5 and 5-7, around there. I know I've completely changed from my previous prediction of 10-2, but the biggest thing about this team, which was the veterans coming back, that I thought was going to be like that critical thing in our favor, all those seniors and the redshirt seniors coming back, providing depth and experience, has meant squat. It's meant absolutely nothing. I see 5-7. Yeah. I see this is like a repeat of the 07 season, that first year under Randy Shannon. Oh, and speaking of Randy Shannon, I'm going to get to that in a second. Tough decisions need to be made again and fast. I agree. Who knows? Decisions may have already been made. I don't know. Like I said, I've heard both ends of the spectrum of what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm sure you guys, if you're paying attention to Twitter and you guys read up on all this stuff, I'm sure you have as well. Remember long ago, 9 wins was fireable. Yeah, I remember. Well, we were winning. We were competing for national championships every year. That's why. So 9 wins was a step down. But we've taken multiple steps down since then. The next step up is to get to that 9-win average again. Completely tried to F over Hester. Yep. Oh, I'm going to get to that right now. We can't lose to FSU or the U family will be pissed off. The U family's already pissed off. They may riot if we lose to them. But FSU finally won their first game against the 3-1 Syracuse team, so I was kind of surprised to see that. But yeah, real quick, let me touch on the Randy Shannon thing. For those of you who did not see it, on Instagram, I believe it was, Instagram is at least where I saw it. On Shannon Sharp's show, he had Devin Hester on as a guest recently. And I believe it was Kane's Corner on Instagram. Shout out to him, he or she, whoever runs that page. They do a great job. I love Kane's Corner. That's where I first saw it, and they posted something to the effect of, like, this is the kind of thinking that has crippled this program for the past 20 years. And if you swipe to the left, then you see, or to the right, to the left. When you swipe to the left, the next video, you see Devin Hester getting interviewed by Shannon Sharp and basically telling a story of how, and I remember this, how Devin Hester, one of the greatest talents we've ever had come through the University of Miami, the greatest kick returner of all time, no question. There's no argument there. College or pro. He comes in and, has a great freshman year, returns the opening kickoff for a touchdown. First time he touches the ball in the Orange Bowl against UF, I was there. I thought the Orange Bowl was going to collapse. That's how loud it was. Has that great freshman year. And in 2004, he not only returns kicks, he plays corner. He played slot corner. He came in on third downs and stuff. And later in the season, by the end of the season, he was pretty much starting at corner. I don't know if you guys remember that from 2004, but Hester was starting at corner, lots of raw talent, but, had to learn the position. Ends up leading the team in interceptions, had like 4 or 5 picks that year. And, he was on his way to maybe having an all-conference or all-American season as a corner as a junior, which would have been 2005. The story was, this is according to Devin Hester himself, he said that basically Randy Shannon kind of held him back. Well, not kind of, he completely held him back and didn't like that Devin Hester was getting all this national attention and, this and that. And basically he's like, I don't like, you've blown up a little too fast right now. I don't like it. That was kind of the extent of it. And basically they benched him. And in the offseason between 2004 and 2005, he was relegated to third string corner or something like that. That was pretty much what Hester said. And then something else, like walking out of his office, he peeked his head out. He's like, as long as I'm here, you're not starting at corner. Something like that, which looking back is insane. And 2005, which was his junior year, he stays. He still is our kick returner, has a great season. And he also, I think he played a little receiver, a little running back. Basically, he was underutilized. Whether you want to use him offense or defense, he should have been on the field a lot more. I think all Cane fans agree with that. And he wasn't. So then he leaves after 2005. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. I don't know if you guys knew that story. You can look it up, I'm sure, on YouTube or Twitter, Instagram, whatever. It's out there now. It's Devin Hester's interview with Shannon Sharp. And basically, that was one of the big reasons why Hester left the year early. I mean, on top of him being super talented. And yeah, that's the kind of thinking that has continued in this program to this day, unfortunately, with all the seniority garbage. Les, yes, please hit that like button. I remember, we all remember the Orange Bowl, although that memory is getting further and further away, unfortunately, until we start winning and making new ones. But Bosworth, what's up? What's going on, man? Will King be ready for the NC game? I doubt it. I'm fine with TDD, honestly, starting the rest of the season. I'd rather King just rest and heal up. I don't think – I mean, he hasn't been making great reads this year in the RPO. I know it's not like his natural offense, but you can tell TDD makes better reads, and he really grew up in that Virginia game. Like, he improved tremendously just in that game alone. So I want to see what he does in, like, an ACC schedule. Honestly, I want to see what he does. In the meantime, King heals up for real and gets himself ready for his 7th season, which he can return for 1 more year. He's got 1 more year of eligibility left. If, maybe even transfer if I'm him. I don't know. But King does have 1 year left. I would maybe even switch back to receiver. I don't know. I would heal up if I was him. I would rather see TBD. He's the healthy one. He's learning. He's improving as he goes. Let him take the reins and see what we got. Because a great quarterback, honestly, masks a lot of deficiencies. John, what's up? Keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. Thank you. John, agree about King. TBD is better with the RPO. Yes. Yeah, you can tell King was missing a lot of reads where he should have handed it off, and we would have had a nice run up the middle of 7, 8, 10 yards. It happened many times in the Michigan State game. And notice in the Virginia game, he handed it off more, especially on that final drive where we were wearing down Virginia's defense. Whether they were faking those cramps, we'll never know. It seemed like they were. But, handing it off, and we're getting yards. And, I think TBD has a better feel for the RPO, and that gets the offense in a rhythm. That gets the O-line in a rhythm. And that, forces the other team to fake cramps because we're running it. They know we're running it down their throats. So I want to see more TBD. That's just me. Niga says, John, do you think the Board of Trustees, donors, and alumni would do anything to try to find us our own stadium? I liked your Tropical Park idea. Yeah, the Tropical Park thing has been thrown around for quite a while now, for years. I think it was on State of the U or one of these sites that Alonzo Highsmith was quoted as saying he liked Tropical Park as well. So first things first, I just want them to bring in a strong athletic director. That's first thing. From there, if they have a vision of having their own stadium, which the U has not been great, hasn't been their old dominant selves in a long time, 15 plus years, but they're a brand. And the fact that they don't have their own stadium is baffling to me. I realize we're UM is a small private school in the middle of Coral Gables. They're not going to have an on-campus stadium. Fine. Find a spot. Miami's a huge place. Find a spot to have your own stadium. John, we suck if Manny had comments. We suck. If Manny had common sense, he would toss chain of rings. It's stupid. It's definitely dumb if we're doing it down by 3 touchdowns. I agree with that. But it's one of those things where if we're winning, it's great. If we're losing, it sucks. Got to win first. Coker could not recruit. Shannon had the chip on his shoulders. Golden was stubborn. Rick was burnt out, and Manolo was a politician. Yeah, that's for the most part accurate. I will disagree on the Coker part. Coker's what led to his downfall, I think, was making promises to too many potential recruits. Like, Preston Parker, for example. I remember 3-4 years ago, Omar Kelly was talking about this on QAM. This shouldn't be breaking news. Preston Parker, who was a stud 5-star recruit who went to FSU, I think he didn't really quite live up to the 5-star billing, but still 5-star wide receiver, I think he was. Coker was like, yeah, no, if you come in, you're my one receiver I'm taking in this class. If you come in, I think it was like 04, 05. And, he made that promise. He didn't recruit any other receivers. And sure enough, he flips and goes to FSU. He was basically doing that at a lot of other positions, it seems like, because I remember when Coker left, we had 0 depth at any position. I think in the 07 season, we had like 3 safeties on the roster. So Coker didn't recruit big numbers. He didn't fill the scholarship allotment, which another thing that's baffling to me that Miami still can't manage to do. He didn't fill the scholarship allotment, it seems like. And Coker, but I would say Coker, when he wanted a guy, he went and got him. He went and got, I want to say Ed Reed. I believe he got Jeremy Shockey. I believe he got Brian McKinney. A lot of those greats from those early 2000s teams, he went and sat in those living rooms. So Coker got a lot of 5-star guys. And then after them, he got Kenny Phillips. He got Devin Hester. He got, John Beeson, Leon Williams, a bunch of 5-stars. Did they live up to the 5-star rating? Most of them. Kenny Phillips did. I think he was the only one. Willie Williams, Coker could get the guy he wanted. It was just getting big numbers of recruits. Shannon had a chip on his shoulder and was stubborn. Golden was stubborn and not very bright. And yeah, we caught Richt. I remember he was 54 or 56 years old when he took the job in 2016. And I was like, ooh, that's maybe 20, 30 years ago. That was fine. But this is a young man's game now. To start your run with a team almost in your 60s. And after what he had done in Georgia, I mean, yeah, it wasn't shocking to me that he was burnt out. John, do you have any recruiting news? So can we sign anyone while we go through this possible? Can we sign anyone while we go through this possible coaching change? By sign, you mean getting a commitment. Yeah, because signing day's not for a while. Yeah, we could land commitments if we make a splash higher. I think that's the only way. I think there will be some attrition, and there is with any coaching change. There's player turnover. You're going to lose some guys like. When Randy Shannon got fired, we lost Teddy Bridgewater. We lost, I think Eli Rogers was his receiver. We lost both those guys, which sucked. But did Randy Shannon need to go? 100% yes. They had to do that. But when you let someone go and bring in a new coach, yeah, you lose some players, but then you bring in other ones. You bring in a few portal guys. Maybe he brings in a couple guys from the team he was just on that transfer over. Maybe some recruits that he was already going after. So you have what you lose, you also gain with the new coach, hopefully. So I'm not too concerned about that. But to answer your question, yeah, we could land somebody. Supreme Goon says TVD has an NFL arm and is mobile enough to get 10 plus yards. I like his potential. He has good potential. I doubted him and he shut me up. There was a lot of doubters about him. A lot of people were Jake Garcia guys over TDD, but the guy can play, man. He shows a lot of toughness and grit. He, got hit in the mouth in the first half and came back and had a great second half. He almost didn't have an incompletion in the second half or in the fourth quarter, something like that. John, if I did a fundraiser for 5 years, I believe they can raise. Not if you did. If Miami did a fundraiser for 5 years, they can raise $300 million and build 40,000 seat stadium in Tropical Park with additional 5,000 for big games. Look at Stanford Stadium. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have to have a massive stadium. Believe me, I would rather have 40,000 seats full or almost full than 64,000 seats empty most of the time. Is Manny still head coach? Yep. Officially, he is. Caden Kane, what's up, John? Realistically, is Manny getting fired? And if so, during the season or after? I still think if we lose next week to North Carolina, I think he's gone. That's my opinion. I think that's the longest he'd be here. If we somehow win that game, which I hope we do. I hope we pull off the upset. I'm just telling you what I'm feeling is going to happen in that game. Remember, they put 62 points on us last year. But if we win and pull off the upset, I still don't know because of what I'm hearing behind the scenes that, I don't want to disclose. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think he definitely gets fired during the season, to answer your question. I don't think it's going to be after. I think he's gone sooner rather than later. Young man's game, Nick Saban is 70. Young man's game for the most part. Nick Saban is an outlier. You're talking about the greatest coach of all time, he's not starting his run now with Alabama. He started with them 14 years ago when he was 56. He started with them then. He's built this machine that's, churning out NFL talent and national championships. And he's just got to basically not crash the Ferrari. So he's in a much better spot now to be coaching at 70 than if you were to switch jobs and go somewhere else now, I don't think he'd be able to. I don't think he would have the same success and he would burn out pretty quick. Let's see. Miami needs a billionaire type booster a la Phil Knight who can drop truckloads of cash. Look at that dope Stephen Ross drop $200 million up to Michigan. Yeah. No, they're out there. David, what's up, man? David, any recruiting news? What are you hearing? Miami going up. We can't keep going from coach to coach. We aren't going to win if we only give them 3 years. To reiterate what Wholesome said the other day, I think it was on Mark Rogers' show. Golden was into his 5th year, so that's not true. Randy Shannon coached 4 full years, and Coker coached, I mean, albeit won a national title, but still, Coker coached, I think, 6 years. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 years. So the only guy we've had that coached 3 years was Mark Richt, and he retired. So that's actually a bit of a myth. But to answer what you're saying, yeah, we can't keep jumping from coach to coach. That's why we have to land the right guy. And you'll know it in the first couple of years if we landed the right guy. Not in the sense that we'll win a national title, but you'll see improvement. You'll see immediate improvement. You'll see us actually prepared for big games, not getting blasted in the first quarter. You'll see us actually winning after a bye week. Manny is 2-6 after a week off or multiple weeks off. That's awful. What's he saying? They have Nicky Harrison and the Sophers. Yeah, and Nicky Harrison. Yeah, there's a lot of people with money down here. If they really wanted to go get it, they can go get it. John, if you're hearing what Flo's hearing, I know what you're talking about because I'm in the Degenerates chat and we get all the juicy info. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in that chat too. So I feel like probably most of this chat is in the Degenerates chat. Simpson going to see JUCO D tackle Jeffrey Umba tomorrow. Ah, yes. Okay. That's good. That's very good. We need help in the trenches on both sides. I really thought Manny taking over the DC, and I'll admit I was totally wrong on this. Manny taking the defensive coordinator position as well as head coaching. I was concerned that yes, it's going to be very hard to handle both. But he's done it before. He's been the DC here before, so he knows the players, or you would think he does. So I thought him calling his aggressive style on defense would really help. However, it looks like whenever we send a blitz after the quarterback, nobody gets through. For whatever reason, DNs, linebackers, no one can seem to get home and get to the quarterback. And 4 games into the season, we only have 3 INTs. I think at this point in 2017, when we had 30, when we led the country in takeaways, I think by the 4th game we had 7 or 6 or 7 takeaways, something like that. Everyone wanting coaching change Stoops, given they're earning more than Manny, Stoops, and wanting new AD. Where's the money to pay for such changes? It's there. University of Miami has money, and there are donors. Don't let the media spin this BS that they don't have money. Trust me, they have money. They haven't been willing to spend big amounts of it on the football program, but there's money. Let's see. Bosworth, go get me Barry Alvarez type AD. Look what he did at Wisconsin. Remember when he went there in 89 and beat them? Remember when we went there in 89 and beat them by 50 and they had 7,000 in the stadium? Alvarez has that gravitas. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. Wisconsin did suck a while back. Suck. And that's, let me bring up this scenario. Let me know what you guys think of this. Remember back in 01, the players, and you know what? I don't blame them for this. The players wanted them to hire someone in-house to take over for Butch Davis when he was leaving. Larry Coker took over. We won a national title. Should have been 2 national titles, but we got robbed. And maybe that was the better decision at the time. What if, because Donna Shalala wanted to bring in Barry Alvarez at the time. Barry Alvarez was a very run-heavy kind of offense, old school, Big Ten style back then. So maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't have. Maybe we wouldn't have won the national title in 01. But you bring him in as head coach. Maybe he sticks around as AD. Yeah, maybe we wouldn't have won that. We wouldn't have been the greatest team of all time in 01. But we probably would have, it might have been a better long-term scenario. Maybe we would have had 9-10 wins, every year and, won some bowl games over the last 20 years. Maybe. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let's see. Sounds like the Dolphins. John, who do you want as our next head coach? Pick someone we can actually sign. Okay, I'll give you a few of my realistic picks because I know Flo and Max and Mike did this on their show last night. It was a great show, by the way. I still haven't gotten through all of it, but I watched that segment. I'll tell you that in a second. If Mario signs on, means there's a plan to fix things. He won't join the circus. That's why I want him. Agreed. Miami made $98 million in 2020 and $183 million before that. Listen, there is money, and if there's not, they'll find it. If there was no money, then Mark Richt wouldn't have been hired. Fired Manny yesterday. I'm tired of waiting. Of course, John Barry Alvarez is a man, and Blake James is a toddler sucking on his thumb. Yeah, imagine if Barry Alvarez came 20 years ago, coached for a while, and became AD. Who knows? Who knows where we'd be today? Seems like we haven't recovered from that O2 National Championship. We haven't recovered since that last batch of Butch Davis players left, honestly, which was 04, I want to say. If I can pinpoint the game where I think we haven't come back, it was 2005, the second to last game of the season against Georgia Tech. We had just whooped Virginia Tech on the road. Virginia Tech was number 3, undefeated. You all know the game. 2005, we're number 5 or 6. They're number 3, led by Marcus Vick, Heisman Trophy candidate. We go up there and destroy them, right? And then the following week, I think we beat Wake Forest by like 50. And Kyle Wright's finally starting to look like that quarterback that we've been wanting him to look like. Then we come back home against an unranked Georgia Tech team, Saturday night game. I was at that game. I'm sure some of you guys were too. And that was, that loss to this day hurts me because it was an unranked team. All we had to do was take care of business. It was going to be a, typical night at the Orange Bowl, kick their ass by 3 touchdowns or so and, go home with a victory and just wait to see what Texas and USC do. Because we were number 3 at that time. All we had to do is take care of business, win our last 2 games. We lose that game to Georgia Tech. Since that game, I feel like we haven't recovered because then we get our asses kicked by LSU in the bowl game. Barely even showed up to that game. Then 06, we're 7-6, and then starts all the 7-win, 6-win seasons with, 2017, a nice little spike, but that's been pretty much it. Butch Davis was a great recruiter, probably the best. Recruiter and developer. That's the part that people forget. Yeah, he found diamonds in the rough, but he and his staff developed guys. He got the most out of his players. That's why we upset UCLA. Hit the like button if you send Blake James back to Maine. So, yeah. If our sports teams get good again, they basically become financially independent. That's more money for fundraisers to pump into the school. I don't know why Miami has to choose between which to be great in. Yeah, to be great in. Sorry. I don't get the thought process because, it takes an investment of money. But teams like the Ohio States and the Oklahomas that are pretty much, you can pencil them into a New Year's Six bowl game every year. They're either in the Fiesta and the Rose and the Sugar Bowl. You go to one of those bowl games and win, or hell, I think if you just go to one of those bowl games, that is millions of dollars for your program every single year. I don't know why it seems like they're not understanding that. I agree there is money, but it's where they do want to spend it. Yeah, 100%. Bring in Butch Davis, all the losing will stop. Maybe back in 2015. But even then, I was a little iffy about bringing him in because Butch is getting up there. And look, aside from beating us, and look, FIU beat Miami 2 years ago in that horrible game that we were down 23-3 at one point. We were a broken team. We were a broken locker room. But they still beat us. Really, that's all he's done. I think they won a bowl game the year before against Toledo or something. Since Butch beat us in 2019, FIU has won 1 football game. That's a season and a half now. Since then, they've won 1 football game. So, you sure you wanted him? I don't know. I think his time has passed. We haven't been the same since the Oilers got demolished. It's before that. We started to suck a couple years before that, but yeah, that didn't help. Butch beat our ass with less talent, with way less talent. Way less talent. Let's see. There was a question I was going to address earlier, and I forgot. It'll come back to me. See, 49, 50 in the chat right now. Please hit that like button if you have not done so. At UNC, he has been beating us. At UNC, that was more than a decade ago. And really, it doesn't matter who's at UNC. We always lose to them. Here's another thing I want to bring up. Speaking of the UNCs and the Virginias, they always seem to give us problems. Here's why, ultimately. I've said this. Oh, yes, pick a coach. Thank you, Les. See, you pay attention. Yes, I will give you my coaching picks. But this has been the main issue at the University of Miami on the field for the better part of 2 decades. We have not outperformed our recruiting ranking. We have not outperformed the talent that we bring in from high school in a very, very long time. If you look at, I think it was also Kane's Corner that did this. Somebody on Instagram put this stat up that we're top 3 in recruiting in the ACC every year. Some years we're number 2. We're like pretty much behind Clemson. We're always number 1 in the Coastal as far as recruiting. Always. I think there was maybe 1 year that some Coastal team beat us out. I think it was Butch Davis when he was in Carolina. Aside from that, we're always the number 1 recruiting class in the Coastal. We're always top 3 or top 2 in the ACC. But our final ranking in the ACC is always 4th, 5th, top 10 recruiting ranking, top 15, but then unranked on the field. It's never been the other way around. Why? Development. But yes, pick a coach. All right. So here are some of my realistic picks to be the football coach here. Number 1, as in order of who I would want. Number 1, I think it would have to be Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell has really built something at Cincinnati, and he has beaten some really good teams along the way. And if you look at their roster, they've got an absolute shutdown corner. They've got a great quarterback in Desmond Ridder. They've got an offensive line that seems to be ready for any competition that is thrown in front of them. That team is just ready every Saturday, and that's something we don't have. Also, I read off the recruiting rankings the last 4 years, starting with 2018. This is according to 247. I still have it written down. 49th, 66th, 41st, 45th, and they're the 5th best team in the country. So I don't care what you got to do, bring him down here. I know the AD that hired him is now at USC, and if that job opens up, that's his. But yeah, Supreme Goon agrees. Yeah, that's likely where he goes, but USC has had similar problems, and UNC is almost like, they've been a little better over the years, but pretty much California version of us. So why not come down here? Come here for the challenge. I know Luke Fickell can recruit South Florida. I'm sure he's got South Florida players on his team. I think it's not likely, but it could happen. I think it's somewhat realistic that Fickell can come here. That's my number 1 pick. Number 2, hey, Flo, what's up, man? Number 2 would be Mario. Also, well, it's between, I would say Mario is my number 2. He's coached here before, former Miami Hurricane, yada, yada, yada. He's got all the ties here. If we bring in the right AD, hell, if we bring in a different AD altogether, I think the chances of him coming here go way up. If it's still Blake James next year, he's not coming here. It's that simple. So if Blake is still here, he's not coming. If we get a new guy, if we get the right AD, all of a sudden him coming here is very, very possible. So those are my top 2 favorites. As far as other ones, like to give you like a top 5, I would say I really like Mark Stoops. I know the concern with him is he loves to ground and pound. He loves to run the ball. He's that style of offense. It's more like a power spread, kind of like what we have now. But he would fix the O-line. He would make us a much tougher team. He's proven he can upset the better teams, as he did the other night against Florida. He coached the secondary of the greatest team of all time. Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Antrell Roll. The list goes on. And I really believe he would do great here. And he's not that old. I think he's like in his early 50s. So, he's got some time left. He's not coming in here burnt out, I don't think. It's not like, he didn't have the run that Mark Richt had with Georgia and then with FSU before that. So, yeah, I think Mark Stoops would be a good third option, a good fourth option that I would put probably 3A, 3B with him. I would say would be Greg Schiano. Similar reason. Former Miami assistant coach, did a fantastic job with our defense when he was here. He was a defensive coordinator. I don't remember how many years he was a defensive coordinator, but I know he was in 2000. In 2000, we had one of the best defenses in the country. So I would love Schiano. He is very much a disciplinarian, which we need right now. But he knows what it's like to coach here. I don't think he would be a disciplinarian, kind of like Shannon. He would be stubborn to the point that he's going to try to make these players something they're not. But he would make them disciplined on the field, meaning no dumb penalties, less drops or no drops, that kind of thing. He'd basically reteach our program how to play football. So I like Stoops or Schiano. And, man, if I can throw a fifth one, I would say Hugh Freeze is very much possible and a guy that we can bring here if we really wanted him. Lane Kiffin would be great, but actually, do I put Lane Kiffin as my fifth? You know what? Swap out Hugh Freeze. I would say Lane Kiffin fifth, because if you really wanted to go after him, you could get him. He'd be a big fish in a small pond if he came to the ACC. With this talent and his offensive system, he would do well here. And I think he's cleaned up. Honestly, he's cleaned up his act. I know he's had issues in the past, but I think he's matured. He was a very young head coach back then. I think he's matured. I think he's gotten smarter. What are your thoughts on Dallas Cowboys OC Kellen Moore as an OC at Miami? He'll probably get an NFL gig here in the next few years. Thoughts? I would really like that guy's brain on this staff. I would not mind that at all. I mean, look what he did as the quarterback for Boise State. And that was all this. That was kind of like when Dorsey was here. It was this. He didn't have a cannon for an arm. He didn't, he was accurate enough. He wasn't the most athletic. He didn't have a cannon, but he was smart. He had a brain. I missed a donation. Sigmund, what's going on, man? Thank you for the dono. What's up, John? Just got on here. Yeah, welcome. I will be on probably for another 10 or 15 minutes. You guys are bringing me good questions. Island Canes, thank you for the donation. Real possibilities. Mario, Mark Stoops, Tom Herman, Bill O'Brien, Schiano. Schiano loves where he is, so who knows? I mean, any coach that's doing well, you can say that. You can say, oh, they love where they're at. They got a good thing going. Yeah, of course. But many times in the past, you'd say that about somebody, and then, they move to a different challenge. You never know. It depends on the person. I think this popcorn Alabama comment made him rethink the SEC. You're talking about Lane Kiffin? Listen, man, I'm telling you, he brings that system here with this speed. He's kind of hitting his stride as a coach and a play caller right now. He comes now to the ACC, he would be a big fish in a small pond. He would have a much easier time. John, what do you think about Sean Clark at App State or Jeremy Pruitt? I'd ideally like to bring in someone with real Power 5 experience. Go get Urban Meyer. Listen, I was almost on board with that. But Mike McCoy on the show last night with Flo and on Maxed Out, he brought up a good point. Yeah, you sell your soul to the devil. You win 2 national championships in 3 years or 4 years. But then after that, you might not, you might get the death penalty and not have football for a few years after that, because Stuff happens behind the scenes, and then he fakes a headache on the sideline, and all of a sudden, he's got to go be with his family and get his health back up until he takes a head coaching job somewhere in the NFL. That's the Urban Meyer cycle. Yes, he is an amazing coach, one of the greatest of all time, and he would improve your program, but at what cost? So, yes, thank you for bringing me back to earth on that one, because at first I was like, whatever we got to do, bring him here. Charlie Strong is an interesting one. That's an interesting one. If he has a strong offensive coordinator, obviously you need an offensive coordinator and a quarterback regardless. But if you really have that in place and, you bring in a defensive-minded coach like Charlie Strong, he could succeed here. I think Charlie Strong in Texas was a bad fit with that Big 12. They basically don't play defense. I think that was a bad fit. You bring him here, he could do well. He could do well. I think Cristobal over here as head coach at Chatter is Miss Cristobal wants to come home. Hey, that's when the missus wants you to come home, that's a strong pull. When it's hard to. When you grew up in Miami, it's hard to leave. Trust me. It's hard to stay away too long. Charlie Strong, 15 years ago, he's 61. He's 61? Damn. Really? I did not know that. I would have taken Charlie Strong fresh out of Texas, but yeah, 61, I didn't know that. I thought he was like in his early 50s or something. What do you think the new AD – what do you think the new AD would need to upgrade if he – I said we should put more money into the nutrition, have a photo room for the recruits and team clubhouse for the players to bond. I'm not sure if I understand your question, Supreme. Is it, what would I think if the new AD wanted that, pump money into nutrition and a photo room and all that stuff? As long as the team improves, I really don't care. Charlie Strong isn't bad. He's not a bad option, but he is getting old. We'll see. Bring me a coach with air raid. Yeah, somebody brought up Art Briles the other day, but he's long removed from the game. Calvin, what are the question marks for this comment? Yeah, sorry, I didn't Supreme Dude, I didn't understand what you were saying. Could you reiterate? Bosworth, Cristobal favorite food speak of you, and you can't get it on YouTube. Yeah. I'm asking what upgrades you think he should make to the facilities. Oh, okay. Well, that's the thing. That's something a lot of people, outside of Miami haven't realized, that in the last few years we have made huge upgrades to the facilities. The stadium, the student center, the gym. There's an indoor practice facility now, which teams can't say that we don't have. We do have it, which a lot. You don't realize in the late summer, early fall, when camp is really getting going, there's lightning here in Miami every other day. When there's lightning, that alarm goes off and they can't practice. So that's big. You can't miss days of practice. So that indoor practice facility is huge. Plus, they have events there and stuff. You can do fundraising. You can do a lot of that. So that was a very smart move by Mark Richt. So we have that. We have, when College Game Day came here in 2017 for the Notre Dame game, that was like a big recruiting pitch to see how much the facilities have improved. The dorms, that's another thing. We have insane dorms now. And yes, thank you, Calvin. I was going to that next. The locker room is what's next. They're going to work on the locker room next. So it's going to be like NFL quality, maybe even better. So that's really what's next and what's left to upgrade. So the facilities are not a problem. John, what do you think about Mark Stoops as head coach and Kendall Briles as OC? Ooh. I'd be very happy with that, actually. I'd be happy with anybody in my top 5 that I said, and maybe a few after that. Mario's holding out at Oregon until the Bama job becomes open. Maybe, but maybe. You never know. Urban Meyer always said that his dream job was Notre Dame, and he still hasn't gone. Those things change over time. That's a fluid thing. Just like recruiting is fluid, coaching searches are fluid. A certain opportunity pops up, and Mario's like, oh, wait a minute. And you know he's been approached already. You know people are in his ear. So I'm sure Alabama's not the only place he's considering. Just some changes need to happen at the top before he considers us. Okay, a few more minutes, guys. I would say Ken Dorsey or Frank Ponce at OC. Frank Ponce is the one at UCF, right? Or was it UCF? Something like that. Let me look that up. So I don't sound uninformed. Frank Ponce. Let's see. Frank Ponce. Current at Appalachian State. That's right. They showed him on TV. We were just playing him. He served as co-offensive coordinator, App State from 2013 to 2018, and now is the current one. Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind him at all at OC. He's a great play caller. Or Ken Dorsey. People who say that maybe Ken Dorsey doesn't have the experience, I'll tell you this. Ken Dorsey, along with, obviously winning a national championship here as a quarterback, we always knew he's going to be a coach one day because of his brain. He was an NFL quarterbacks coach for many years. He was the quarterback coach. What year was it? Was it 2015 that Cam Newton went to the Super Bowl? I think it was that year, 2015. That was the year that Ken Dorsey was his quarterback coach with Carolina. And that was hands down Cam Newton's best year. So usually the progression is, you're on the assistant staff as a grad assistant or whatever. You make your way, maybe passing game coordinator, then quarterback coach. Right after quarterback coach is usually OC. So to go from NFL quarterback coach to, whatever, I forgot what he's doing now, OC in college would be the next progression. But Frank Ponce, I would take too. Or Larry Fedora. I would also take Larry Fedora. Played for 2 national championships. Yeah. Really should have played for 3. I'd love Chud in some type of administrative role or what. Yeah, that's my dream. That one of my dream picks as AD. Him, obviously Dan Morgan, and obviously my brain's fading. Alonzo Highsmith. So last thing, Signal. What are your top 5 coaches then? Okay. Start number 1 and number 2 for sure. Luke Fickell and then Mario Cristobal. Those are my top 2. Pretty much tied for 3rd are Mark Stoops and Greg Schiano. And number 5 would be Lane Kiffin. Those would be my top 5. We'll end on this. Where is Larry Fedora at? Good question. Larry Fedora. He is a football coach. No crap. Let's see. He was with Baylor in 2020. Okay, recently served as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Baylor University. Was released from his duties December 22nd, 2020. All right. So he had some great success with North Carolina, I thought, and really hasn't found his footing since then. Well, yeah. But I know he's a good play caller. Yes, Chud will be great as AD. All right, yeah. Honestly, Fickell's my number 1 pick right now. All right, guys. I think I'm going to stop it there. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your awesome questions. And who would be your AD picks? I just said those now. My 3 would be Alonzo, Dan Morgan, or Chizinski. All former Canes and all have great minds for the game. Cristobal would take less to come home. Maybe we'll see. All right, everyone. Thank you all for coming on. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate the donations again. Sigmund, and I forgot who the other one was. Say thank you to them really quick. Island Canes, thank you very much for the donation. Going to be back on. I will do something this Saturday. I'll have my little Cafecito and Canes session this Saturday. Maybe some new developments between now and then. We'll see. But it will be a bye week. But still, I will come on and do my usual show. As always, thanks again, people. Go Canes. Have a good night.